Trefina is with us next in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Trefina. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing well. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Yeah, so we are a Schedule C right now. We're a LLC with a Schedule C, like pass-through tax setup.
Sure.
And we're looking to transition from contractors to W-2s. And I want to know what kind of business structure we should be. Like, what kind of corporation should we establish?
LLC is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh,
it doesn't affect anything at all. We're an LLC, and we've got 1,100 on W-2. So, yeah, I mean that's a fairly standard process. How many people on will you be doing payroll for?
5.
Okay, all right. I'm going to investigate the possibility of outsourcing the payroll process.
Okay.
With a payroll company. At 5 people, it may not make sense. When you get to 50, it always makes sense because it requires a certain amount of time to actually process the check or a direct deposit. No one does checks anymore, but the direct deposit and the withholding, which is the 941 forms. 941 forms have to be filled out with the IRS. And I mean, you can have an accounting firm locally help you with that, or you can have a payroll company help you with that. But again, I'm not positive it's going to make sense financially to hire a payroll company to do it for 5 people, but it's a pain in the butt. So outsource it. I mean, all the paperwork's it's just awful. And so get people that like doing that kind of crap, and it'll move you in that direction. So yeah, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on Tax ELP. And talk with a tax professional, and they probably do bookkeeping and maybe help with small businesses, and they may be able to give you some direction too on that. And just do a little bit of research on a couple of payroll companies in your area, and they'll help you make that. But you don't have to do anything really super complicated to make that happen. So guys, that leads us into another idea. Let's talk about this for a minute and unpack it, okay? You start with When you start in business, we call you a treadmill operator. A treadmill operator is the person where too much of the business relies on you. Oftentimes it's 1, 2, 3 people, something like that. And you've got to level up, you've got to get where the business doesn't rely on you to show up. And then you move up to Pathfinder, which is pretty much where she is, okay? At Pathfinder, your team, if you want to level up there, you got to get the whole team engaged and in a shared direction. But she's got some operational stuff she's doing there at that Pathfinder stage, and that's probably where that business is. And you've got some processes to put in place, and you've got to start looking at, it was hard for me to do this. I had to start looking at hiring people to do work that did not create revenue. See, I'm an old sales guy, and so I wanted everyone I hired to make me more than they cost me. Salespeople do that. They make you more than they cost you, right? People that are producing revenue of some kind make you more than they cost you. If you've got a digital marketer and they're helping you buy keywords and work on your SEO, they're making you more than they're costing you. And those positions are emotionally easy to fill. It's harder to fill a position of a bookkeeper who does your payroll for you, because that doesn't create any revenue. It just manages the processes in the business. Now, I say harder. By harder, I mean it's emotionally harder for a revenue-driven mindset entrepreneur. And so Trevina's not at the level with 5 team members to hire someone full-time inside that business to do payroll. But they may have some bookkeeping plus payroll plus some purchasing, rolling up a whole bunch of finance and accounting functions into one job description. And I did do that fairly early because I didn't want to fool with those 941s and all the forms and stuff. They suck. I told you that a minute ago. It's hard. I didn't want to mess with it. It drove me nuts, that kind of stuff does. And because I felt like when I'm working on that, I wasn't working on something that made money. And so I quickly found a way to delegate that, and then I quickly found a way to bring it in-house. Now, some people are very comfortable outsourcing that kind of thing extensively. I'm going to bring it in-house. And again, what you're doing in the people driver, the 6 drivers of business, in the people driver, what you'll do oftentimes, say at that peak performer level, it's not unusual for, if you've got 10 or 15 people working for you, for each person to have like 4 jobs. Like, again, you've got one person that does all the accounting, bookkeeping, and purchasing and payroll. And so they got several different jobs under the heading of our bookkeeper or our controller or whatever it is, your first accounting person, finance person you hire in. It's not unusual at all. Your first HR person is going to be a recruiter. They're going to be an HR person. They're going to be benefits manager. They're going to do a whole bunch of different things. And then what happens is, as you grow, you hire someone to take 2 of the 4 jobs that's on that other person. And then you hire it's like a cell splitting, okay? They start with 4 jobs on one person, and then you got 2 jobs on each person, and then we've got 4 people for 4 jobs once we get enough size and there's enough work to justify that. And it moves you up to that level at that point. And so, yeah, that's where we'll go. And so that's what you're looking for. You've got to build processes where the business doesn't count on you, and then you're moving from treadmill to peak performer. You're moving up through the processes here. And it's going to feel like that cell division thing, and it's okay for somebody to have a whole bunch of jobs, because when you started, you were the CEO by yourself, the chief everything officer.